Rules of decorum. No person attending a public meeting will engage in disorderly or boisterous conduct, including but not limited to applause, whistling, stamping of feet, booing, or making any loud, threatening, or profane, abusive, personal, or slanderous utterance that disturbs, disrupts, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting. All remarks by members of the public shall be addressed to the mayor or the chair, and not to any other member of the public or any single council, board, or commission member, unless in response to a question that the member. Signs, placards, banners, or other similar items shall not be permitted in the audience during a public meeting. All persons attending a public meeting shall obey any lawful order of the presiding officer to enforce the rules of decorum. Treat everyone courteously, listen to others respectfully, exercise self-control, give open-minded consideration to all viewpoints, focus on the issues and avoid personalizing debate, embrace respectful disagreement and dissent as democratic rights that are inherent components of an inclusive public process and tools for forging sound decisions. Rules of decorum.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to call the Reclamation Authority meeting to order for today, June the 2nd, for 4 p.m. Roll call, Authority Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Board Member Hobson?
Here.
Board Member Thomas?
Here.
Board Member Aldridge?
Present.
Authority Vice Chair Hicks?
Present.
Authority Chair Davis Holmes?
She's here on her way.
There she is.
Flag salute by Director Hobson.
Please stand.
Yeah.
Ready, begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Invocation, Director Thomas.
Please bow. Most gracious Heavenly Father, once again, we're so thankful to have this opportunity to come before your throne of grace and mercy, asking prayers for this great city that you have put us as leaders over. We're thankful for our leadership, our mayor, our council people, and we pray as the CRA board meets today that we will continue to make wise decisions, dear Heavenly Father, guided by you, so that we may do the best for our city and for our residents. For it is in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Authority Secretary, closed session item.
Council, I believe.
Council.
Yeah. Yes, Vice Chair and board members, a closed session will be held pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1 regarding pending litigation to which the Carson Reclamation Authority is a party. The title of the litigation is Cam Carson LLC versus Carson Reclamation Authority, City of Carson, and successor agency to the Carson Redevelopment Agency, Los Angeles Superior Court, case number 20-STCV16461.
Thank you. Authority Secretary, anyone wanted to public comments?
No, Mr. Vice Chair.
Would that be, we need to go in closed session for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes? How long? I see we have our city attorney here, Sonny. 35.
Sunny, 45 minutes?
Till tomorrow. We should be back in the next 35 minutes. In the next hour? Okay, we'll be back at 5 o'clock, if not sooner. Where are we meeting? Executive conference room. We're in recess. Reconvening a CRA meeting from closed session. Authority Council, report out.
Yes, Vice Chair, honorable board members. Board met in closed session, which is authorized pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1 regarding pending litigation to which the CRA is a party. The title of the litigation is Cam Carson LLC versus Carson Reclamation Authority, the City of Carson, and successor agency to the Carson Redevelopment Agency, Los Angeles Superior Court, case number 20 STCV 16461. Staff and council gave a briefing to the board, and a discussion was had and direction was given, but there was no reportable action taken.
Thank you. Oral communications matters listed on the agenda.
There are none, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes.
Second.
Been properly moved in second.
Are we voting?
Okay. Please cast your vote.
It's unanimous, Mr. Vice Chair. Motion carries.
Thank you. Consent items 3 and 4. Entertain a motion.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Any of my authority directors want to move an item off the agenda? Hearing none, cast your vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Discussion. Staff consideration of resolution number 25-07 CRJPA, a resolution of the City Council Reclamation and Joint Powers Authority adopting the fiscal year 2025 budget and approving appropriations for the 2025 fiscal year. Staff.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is the adoption of the annual budget of the CRA, as the CRA does every year. The budget is in format quite a bit different this year than it has been over the last number of years. And one of the reasons is that we've ended up restructuring it in a lot of ways based on the tasks that we contract with the horizontal development manager, RES. They, under the letter agreements that you approved last year, they required to submit site management budget and an O&M budget, and then budgets for pre-construction and construction of Leonardo. And we also have our administrative costs. And so we, in order to kind of reconcile how all the budgeting works and all the budget analysis work, we got the CRA budget itself to line up with the format, and got their format to line up with our budget, so that in their monthly reporting of the budget, we can tie it to our actual line items. And so it's divided into, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but just in the five categories. There's a general, administrative, professional services, and legal. This is generally expenditures that the CRA spends that don't pass through the RES contract. In addition, certain permits, oversight, and insurance and utilities we've talked about, like the D&O insurance that was on this agenda. We contract with those directly, with our broker who procures the insurance. Then the RES expenditures or site management costs called scope of work 1, the O&M costs called scope of work 2, the pre-construction costs, and then the construction costs are scope of work 3 and 4. And then we also included, for your information but not for adoption, a budget estimate for Leonardo. And the second biggest change to this year is, for the last 4 or 5 years, we have carried in the budget the estimated construction costs for Leonardo and the revenue associated with that. That was Measure R, Measure M bonds. And it was at various times money from CAM and other sources of funds. This year, as we have started spending the pre-construction money and worked it out with finance over what the process is, that generally because most of the sources of the funds for the road, because it's infrastructure, is coming from the city, in that we're contracting for the road through the CRA, but the city is directly paying the expenditures for the road. So we're not carrying it also in the CRA budget, so that it's not budgeted twice in the organization as an expenditure in the city and as an expenditure in the CRA. The difference, or the exception, is that Carson Goose owner, as part of their agreement, has to pay $12.5 million toward the construction of the road, and that $12.5 million is carried both on the revenue side as revenue in, and then just generally a single line item toward construction of Leonardo, and it goes in the pot toward the construction of Leonardo. And so what it meant was last year, 2 years ago, the budget for the CRA included a certain amount of the environmental work on Cell 2, pursuant to the agreement with CAM at the time. It included a significant number for the construction of the road, plus all the O&M, and the budget was $80 million. Last year, it was almost $67 million, lowered it a little bit. This year, the budget is $19 million. It's a $12.5 million and about $7 million for the scope of works related to the O&M, the site management, and then the administrative costs. And that's probably more the natural, we're getting to more the natural budget of the CRA. It's probably going to be in the $6 to $7 million a year for O&M and admin, and then with the $12.5 million for the road. So that's so we're getting to sort of what the CRA is going to look like over the long term. And so that concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions about whether individual line items or really the format of the structure. And we did, I hope you noticed, we did try to print it on big paper too. And
Thank
so
you very
it's
much.
a little easier. Anyway.
Question to either the vice chair or to staff. Gerald, is there any word on the monies that we're going to be receiving, the grant money for that can go into the CRA?
So we know that we did apply for $8 million through the South Bay COG. We know it was recommended, or it's on the recommended list. I don't know what the timing of
It hasn't been a vote yet.
so it hasn't been voted on. So I don't know what the timing is.
You have a meeting on, so I thought you were requesting more than 8.
It was 8.
It was only 8?
Yeah, the city total in a whole number of projects requested 25, and I think all 25 is on the recommended list. So it's very good for Carson, but our specific request was 8
For CRA.
for the CRA. If we get 8, we're in good shape.
Oh, okay.
We need to get 8.
We're there. So
We're there. And I was looking at this, on this 12 million for 12.5. Is it showing on here that 12.5 is coming, where it's coming from? I see it in your chart, but where do I see the revenue? Or is it on the big sheet?
it's on the back of. Let me see.
Oh, let's see.
It's on
On the back.
the first budget page, which is the small sheet.
It's not numbered. It's not numbered.
Oh, here it is, anticipated revenue.
It says anticipated revenue CRA. It's in the middle. CGO contribution to Leonardo.
What is CGO?
Carson Goose
Carson
owner.
Goose.
Carson Goose? Okay. And so the Leonardo is going to cost approximately how much?
Right now, construction is estimated at 59 million,
Oh, Jesus.
and soft costs is about 4 million. So it's 63 million, and that's why the 8 million is we have not plugged 8 million. I reference it in the staff report, but we have not plugged it in the budget. And actually, like the other money, it would be city money. The city was the actual applicant for it, not the CRA. I
I thought
think.
it was CRA. We wanted.
Well, you know what? Let me take that back. I don't remember. It might have been the CRA actually.
That's what we
applying.
requested for because it would have
Yeah.
saved you from having to
Yeah.
request a loan.
So I'm not 100% sure. So if it's the CRA and the CRA gets it, we'll come back and amend the budget and we'll add it to the budget. In July or August or whenever we get it.
So the
And-
68 million is to construct the road minus the 12, and the city's going to be paying
Yeah.
for it.
So this is these are costs as of January 1st. So some of this has already been incurred in this fiscal year. And then but you had 26 million from the 2024 lease revenue bonds. You had 23 million, really 22 million from the Measure M bonds. That's 48 million. There's 700,000 for the traffic signal from the developer impact fee, actually from the Evolve traffic mitigation fee, and then 12.5 million from Carson Goose owner. So that's it's about 61 million.
I got 67.5.
So
Okay.
so yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just want to know where this money's coming from because my city treasurer's over there looking also.
She's doing all the math in her head and going, oh my goodness.
Okay. Questions? Well, keep us posted on that grant.
Oh, I will. When I know, I'll let you. We'll send an update to everybody.
Yeah, put a fire up on our vice.
Motion to approve the budget for 2025, 2026.
So moved.
I'll second it then.
You get that, Madam Clerk?
I've already voted.
All in favor?
Oh,
Or vote
yeah.
electronically?
Okay, thank you. Motion carries. The vote's unanimous.
Thank you. Item number 6, consider presentation for Carson Reclamation Authority historical insurance purchases. Staff.
So, Mr. Vice Chair, I'm going to bring up Diego Rodriguez. He is our administrative mentorship intern. You met him a couple of months ago. We said he'd be back, and he's working on a report on all of our insurance, and which we've been talking about. And I think the PowerPoint's like 5 minutes. You want to come up? And but don't be fooled. It represents an awful lot of work, just distilled down in a fairly succinct PowerPoint. And it really is just describing what we've bought over the last years and what the timing is and sort of what these programs are. But we have them sort of collating and organizing and things like that.
Well, good afternoon, Madam Mayor, Council, and Board members. As JR mentioned, my name is Diego Rodriguez. I'm currently a mentorship intern here at the City of Carson. A little bit about me is that I'll be graduating in fall 25 at our neighboring school, CSUDH. So I'm excited for that. A little bit of context about this project is that I onboarded in December, and it took me about a month to catch up to speed with the site, and it took a long time to read about that project. So there's a lot of historical data revolving around this site. And so that's only been updated up to 2018. So JR and I cooperated together to come up with this project, to compile data over the past 8 years in regards to its financial history, not only considering insurance, but also a bunch of various other financial data. but for today's intents and purposes, we're going to be going over the insurance costs. So without further ado, I'll go over briefly our agenda for today, which is just going to be the classifications of insurance, a brief description of what they are, insurance timelines, so any insurance periods in which we had or hadn't had insurance, and I'll go ahead and explain why, and a brief analysis of all of this data. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and explain the pollution legal liability. Essentially what that insurance is a site-based insurance. So if there's any leakage of any pollution from the site, specifically considering that it is a landfill, this insurance will go ahead and cover any harm or injury to any third party. And like the contractor pollution liability, it's very similar. The only difference is that it pertains specifically to a contractor rather than the site itself. Next, general liability speaks for itself. It just briefly goes over injury and any workers' comp or automobiles on site, similar things like that. Public officials liability, typically known as D&O. Don't be fooled, it's just another way of saying directors and officials. It's an abbreviation standing for that insurance, but it really just means public entity, and it's tailored specifically towards the CRA and its officials in order for it to make decisions that will be insured and covered by that insurance. Next, builder's risk specifically pertains to the phase in which construction is currently developing. So this insurance can only be purchased during its construction, and that's going to be relevant to the property insurance that we will be buying in the future in 2021. Simply because during that time in COVID, we weren't building, so there was complications and we had to pivot into property insurance, which is essentially the same type of insurance regarding to property on site, any loss of assets and things of that nature. So now I'll briefly go over the timelines. I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. So in 2015, our insurance expired for PLLs, so then we began looking for insurance in 2016, which we acquired one from Beasley Insurance, which was for around $750,000. And in 2017, we rewrote the provisions in order for it to be in development rather than pre-development, and that came up to around 60% of $4.4 million, which is roughly around $2.64 million. And in 2023, on behalf of Carson Goose Owner or Fairing, we ended up purchasing an additional bridge PLL, and what that simply means is that during our insurance policy, we are buying an additional policy that falls in after our insurance expires. So for the 10-year policy that we purchased in 2017, at the end of that in 2027, the bridge policy will follow. So that way we can ensure that there's no gaps in our coverage.
I just want to note on this one that Fairing Carson Good has actually paid 100% of that policy, that 1.9 million. That was for the bridge policy.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. And so next we'll be going over the CPL and PLI timeline. So here in 2017, we actually acquired a CPL PLI policy for 5 years for around $450,000 estimated, or roughly. And then in 2018, like the PLL insurance, we also rewrote that provision for it to be in development, which ultimately ended up making it a 4-year policy for around $1.5 million. And then in 2022, once our insurance had expired, we ended up acquiring a CPL policy that didn't have PLI involved in it. It's just CPL, and so that policy itself was worth around $54,000. And our most recent renewal for that policy was for 1 year, and it was for $60,000. And I want you guys to notice this trend of slowly increasing in insurance costs, simply just due to the valuation of the site, and I'm going to go ahead and give you those numbers in a brief moment right now. So for the general liability timeline, we purchased a GL policy in 2017 for around $26,300. Fast forward to going to 2023, and the reason why I skip over is because we went over a period called the OCIP period, which is the owner-controlled insurance program, which is outside of the scope of this report. It's a bit too convoluted for me to explain it in simple terms, so I'm just gonna, for the sake of time and for respecting your guys' agenda, I'm gonna go ahead and skip that. But in 2023, we ended up acquiring a GL policy for 1 year for $109,000. So to put that into perspective for you, that is a 475% increase in cost over the past 8 years, which is a lot. And I'm going to go over why that is the case as well. I'm going to give you an exact valuation number from another one of our insurers as well. And so our most recent GL policy was extended for 1 month, and then we bought an additional year following that, which in total was about $125,000. And then our D&O policy here, the first reported that I was able to find in my research was around $77,000. Fast forward to 2024, our most recent renewal, was $164,000. And that is a 233% increase in cost of insurance in that insurance type alone. And then we also have an acquisition pending in 2025 for around $180,000, further implicating that insurance is going to keep going up. So just to give you guys that news early on. And then lastly, we're going to go over the builder's risk and property timeline. So the reason why these two insurances correlate is because, like I said, in around the 2020 era, you'll see in the 2019, that was our last builder's risk policy purchased. And that's because it expired in September of 2020. And as you know, during that time, COVID was prevalent. And so a lot of buildings stopped during that time. And in addition to other variables that were occurring during that time, we ended up pivoting to the property insurance market, which is where we bought our first property insurance in 2021 for $281,000. And then our most recent insurance being $431,682. So the reason that is that if you see on that specific piece of the timeline is that our valuation of the site was worth around $60 million, roughly. And in 2021, when we first bought property insurance, our site was valued at $37.6 million. So over the past 4 years, we've increased our value of the site to about roughly $15 million, which is good for the city at large.
And we didn't want to increase the value of the site, but they did an audit, and they made us go back and kind of reassess what the valuation on the property was.
Yeah. So lastly, just to provide some benchmarks for you guys so that way you guys can understand how much, not you guys, council members, pardon me. But for the past, in 2017, we spent in total about $12.3 million. And that is all insurance types, not including property insurance, simply just because we weren't buying property insurance at the time. And of that 12.3 million, CRA paid 6.1 million of it. And to provide some context into how that measures up to today's cost of insurance, just in property insurance alone, those big numbers I was mentioning previously in the last slide, we are now at $1.5 million in property insurance alone. And that's just to give you a scope of how much the insurance is slowly increasing over time, which is something to monitor. But rest assured, I'm confident that JR has planned his budget accordingly and done a good job of doing so. And lastly, just providing a few updates regarding it. As I mentioned before, Builder's Risk is now defunct as of 2022, as we're now no longer purchasing that type of insurance, but instead we're pivoting to property insurance. And regarding the Leonardo Road review, just going over some points that JR had mentioned in the previous meeting for CRA last month, just going over the contract negotiations, challenges faced by the project itself, such as street planning, materials costs, and things of that nature. And lastly, before I go, I just want to give special thanks to those who's due for it. Thank you to JR for providing me this project. I really have opened my eyes to what planning looks like in the city. And it is really complicated. I will say that. So I give my hats off to him, especially. Special thanks to Tori Freeman as well. I could not have conducted this project without her. She was a pivotal part of making this project a reality. Over the past 3 months, I had been working with her, and she was my Q buddy, and she was really helping me procure these documents, how to read contracts, and things of that nature. And during my time here as well, I was also helping the finance department. So I spent a lot of time with our revenue manager, Antonio Velasco, and Valerie George. Great people, honestly. Like, I've never connected so much with someone in a workplace like that. And as well as HR. They've all been super, super friendly, super helpful, and they've always provided me resources, and they're constantly providing professional development workshops for us interns in order for us to keep developing professionally in the workforce, not only just as students, but also just as business people. So that's really refreshing to see, and I've never seen anything like it before. So I just wanted to give them their special thanks, and that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much.
Very good.
And graduation is when?
Pardon me?
Graduation is when?
Fall 25.
Okay, go Toros. I'm a graduate of the university as well as
Our mayor, yeah.
our mayor as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Proud-
and
proud to be an
definitely our
alum.
city clerk.
And me.
Well, I think we're all are, aren't we?
Where we getting this money from? I know the CRA is getting money.
So a lot of the money that that we spent on insurance, particularly in 2017, was from the original $50.5 million tax allocation bond that was the old successor agency bond. And that was a stake that kind of got the CRA going. And that cost of insurance competed with cost of remedial systems and everything else. And so over the last several years, we're paying for things with carry cost contributions by our partners, particularly Carson Goose, who's been paying 60% of the costs on things like that. And but some of the insurance programs in total, and he had the two numbers on the large insurance programs that we did in 2017 with CAM, with 4.4 million for the pollution liability, and then there's 2.8 million, and you kind of roll up those two programs, 2.8 million for contractor pollution liability. We paid ultimately 60% of that, and CAM paid 40% of that, and that's why they're named insured on those programs. On the when we acquired the first GL, the OSIP that Diego talked about, and the builder's risk policy, CAM was the first named insured on those because they were going to have a much higher value on builder's risk and on GL. And so they paid the 60% of those programs, and we paid 40%. And it was about $4 million in total for those two programs. So our cost was about 1.6 million total, and theirs was about 2.4 million. And so those were just those programs. And then you recall when we had to, in 2021, when we had to go to our first property insurance policy, and it was 276, ended up being $281,000 for property, and the old builder's risk was so much cheaper than that. It was $77,000, and we freaked out, and that number went up and up and up, and you saw the 431,000, which is our last renewal. That was actually lower than it was the year before, which was 515,000. But I think we increased our deductible or something like that, and saved us about $85,000 just in order to do that. So, you kind of get eaten alive a little bit from below on these policies. But I thought it would be useful to just see it all in one presentation, sort of what it looks like.
Excuse me, I was concerned because my treasurer always tells me, you're running out of money. She comes and whispers in my ear.
When I first got here in 2015, she used to ask me every time she sees me, when are you going to start spending that money?
Now we spend it, she'll come. Yeah, now she don't talk to you. She come to you. You know you're running out of money. Okay, are you okay, Madam City?
I had a question. Just a question on the assessed value now, and then the cost of the insurance, how that correlates to what we're actually paying. If it were good land, say, instead of a toxic landfill, would the valuation of the land be higher or lower? And then in that case, would the insurance even be higher, or is it high because it is a landfill? I'm just trying to figure out how that.
So with the property insurance, you're really insuring the improvements on the site, right?
Okay.
You're not really insuring the value of the land.
Okay.
So the land could be worth, if it were clean land, and it were 157 acres and it was just a big vacant lot, your property insurance would actually probably be fairly low. And the reason it's so expensive, even though the value of the land is relatively low, the value of what we're insuring, which is a landfill operations center, the existing landfill gas system, the value of things like the piles and any of the structures that exist on the site, installed liner. We've got inventory on the site that's all included in that. We'd carried it at kind of a historical value that we'd been carrying, I think, since Tetra Tech days. That was the $39 million. And they came along in 22 or 23 and said, well, you've had this, and when does this date from? And they said, you need to go back and come up with a truer value. And so we had to go back and do that, and it added $20 million to the value of the property. Again, the land didn't get any more valuable.
Right.
It's just the replacement costs and the value of the improvements was. And so you pay what they call a rate on line. So you're paying on a per million, certain dollar amount. So part of the increase that year was we just had more value. And I think also that year, we also paid more per million as well. So it was compounded. So the rate went up and the value went up.
Okay.
So it's like your car insurance rates go up, but then you bought a more expensive car as well. So all of a sudden you're really paying.
Right. Okay.
What he said. But thank you all so much. Proud to be a Toro. Appreciate you guys' time. Thank you so much.
Congratulations on your graduation.
All communications from the public, any non-agendized item?
No, Mr. Vice Chair.
All communications from authority members? Any?
Yes,
Thomas? Go ahead.
thank you. Okay, just letting everybody know, it's that time of year again. It's the month of June, and Juneteenth celebration will be happening here in the city of Carson, as no other city can do. It will take place on June 14th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. All attendees will not be admitted on the park before 10:30. No pets unless it is a service animal. And you need to have proof that it is a service animal. So we want our furry friends to be comfortable, and having them at a park with the number of people we're expecting is not always the best place for them. So please keep that in mind. But lots of food vendors will be there, so you will not be coming out there and barbecuing. If you have a 10 by 10 pop-up that you want to put up, you must be on the perimeter of the park. You will not be able to set up in the middle of the park. This is again the Juneteenth celebration, not the Jazz Festival, so there will be no VIP section. There will be no cabanas. It will be just as if we were at Mills Park. So this will take place at Anderson Park on the corner of Wilmington and University. The address is 19101 Wilmington Avenue. Mills Park is under construction, and we are hoping that next year we will be back at Mills Park. So those are the events that will take place. Craft vendors will be there. So come ready to shop, ready to eat. The fun zone, the theme for our young people, our children, is going to be Jumanji. It's going to be awesome. And we will also have our historical museum that will be located there as well. So we look forward to seeing everyone out. Lots of planning going on. All things are pretty much ready to go. We're in our final planning stage. But tell a friend, come out with your blankets, your family, have a wonderful time. And let's act like we're a family. Well, a family that is not dysfunctional. Look forward to seeing you then. Thank you. You want to? Oh, yes, entertainment. And this year, the entertainment will be a tribute to Frankie Beverly and Maze. And we all know how we love that music. But lots of other entertainers are on the list. It's going to be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Well, I just wanted to wish the fathers happy Father's Day this month. We finally get our due.
Yes.
Oh,
And
okay.
most people forget about Father's Day.
All right. Happy
But-
Father's Day in advance to all you fathers out there.
Well, I too want to say happy Father's Day to the fathers and father figures. Happy Father's Day.
And your chair would like to report I was honored and selected as one of the top 500 influential leaders in LA. And
Congratulations.
I did not, I said, oh, I'll go. And I didn't realize the importance of that. And everyone knew the jewel of the South Bay was there. And so we are making our voices heard, and that's an honor. I was telling the mayor from Inglewood, you've been on here for 10 years. I made it in 4.5. So I was pleased. I didn't know what it was, but when I read about it, and I was nominated and selected. So I am quite honored and humbled. It was a good event, and I wouldn't have invited everybody had I known the magnitude of it, but it was good. And I'm honored. One of the
Congratulations,
top
Madam Mayor.
500. That's saying a lot.
Good, that's good.
Madam Mayor.
That's good.
Yeah.
I had friends who were at that event, so they sent me screenshots of you there.
Oh, did
And
they?
said, "Is that your mayor?" I said, "That's her." So you were very popular.
Thank you.
Very popular. And again, everyone said Happy Father's Day, but Happy Father's Day for June the 15th. I'm doing my annual ice cream social, free ice creams to all fathers at Ken's Ice Cream. From noon until 5 is 18511 South Santa Fe. So come out, get your free ice cream. This is my 6th year.
Santa Fe.
On Avalon, 18500 South Avalon on June the 15th. Ken's Ice Cream. Come out and get your ice cream. Your black walnut.
You know what I want?
Time again?
From noon until 5 p.m. Noon to 5. Everyone normally shows up to get their free ice cream. So come on out.
Have mine in the freezer.
Staff, any comments?
I'm sorry. By the way, I'm sorry, just before you go, Juneteenth is free.
Yeah, it's free.
Free. I forgot to say free. Free.
Free.
Okay, Jay.
I don't have any comments.
No comments? Clerk?
Well, I want to say
good
thank you to the staff before the clerk. We're getting there slowly but surely. We're getting there, and we're going to make this happen while I'm your mayor.
Yes.
While this is the board.
Yes.
Bam.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you, JR. Thank you, Mr. Attorney. No, not the city. The
The CRA
attorney.
attorney.
Danny Wine.
Madam Clerk?
All good here. Thank you.
Okay. Treasurer?
I
But
want to say Happy Father's Day.
thank you. Thank you. With that, we are adjourned.